In recent years, I have noticed that there is a lack of opportunities out there for those of varying disabilities to participate in sports. So I've taken it upon myself to go out there and find the people that are providing an inclusive space within their communities.
Hi, my name's Sannah. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Glasgow. I'm part of the ethnic minority community. I'm a radio presenter, fundraiser, and I also started boxing this year. But I'm visually impaired and have a muscle weakness disease. So I had my first exhibition fight to prove that anything is possible.
That's it.
I was born with albinism, which is a lack of colour pigmentation. So it means I've got paler skin, blonde hair, and I'm visually impaired. And in 2014, I was diagnosed with Myasthenia Gravis, which is an autoimmune disease where my muscles don't always react to the nerve signals that are sent to them. So I can get fatigued and tired very easily.
Just because somebody is sick or ill, that doesn't mean that they can't work out. That doesn't mean that they need to shy away from working out. Not everybody's trying to be the most elite. Some people are just trying to fulfill their own satisfaction.
As soon as the opportunity of a fight came along, I decided I was going to do it. And the promoters first said no. They were like, we don't think you're fit enough to do it. But I told them that that wasn't good enough and I was going to find a way to do it, which I did.
I've always enjoyed being sporty and doing exercise and physical activity. So when I was in school and I was part of a team, I used to feel like I was letting people down because I wasn't as good as them. But when it came to boxing, I wasn't relying on somebody else and somebody wasn't relying on me. So whatever effort I put in is what I got back out of it. I think the hardest part for me personally when it comes to disability in any sport is that because when people look at me, they don't see somebody with a disability. I'm not in a wheelchair, I don't have a walking stick. My disability is invisible. If I explain maybe a bit too much about my health, then people might start treating me different. But I don't want people to treat me differently. I want them to treat me just like anybody else. So sometimes it's a bit difficult trying to find the balance between being who you want to be and not what other people expect you to be. I think there's definitely a lack of knowledge and a lack of information for the average everyday person. So I'm hoping through this journey we're going on together that I can find people that are proactive and they are really trying to make a difference.
Now I'm on my way to Freewheel North, a cycling development charity working towards creating a fairer, healthier society by enabling people of all ages and abilities to cycle as part of their everyday life. Since 2011, they have been operating a cycle centre at Glasgow Green, which provides training and a safe space for cycling for learners and vulnerable users. I arrived to meet Norman Armstrong, the founder and overall manager for Freewheel North. Hello.
Hi.
You must be Norman?
That's right.
Sannah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Norman tells me about the centre and what they do.
Okay. So this is Freewheel North, and we're an inclusive cycling project. We're very successful and we get people of all ages, all abilities cycling here, whether they've got a disability or not. It breaks down the barriers between people of different abilities.
Yeah.
And we have over 500 different groups that come here.
So instead of trying to change what we already have, but start off with something that's all inclusive. Excellent. Shall we go for a walk and see?
Yeah, sure.
See about the track?
Yeah.
Norman walks me around the track to have a look, and I realise what a safe and enjoyable environment it really is.
It does feel very organic.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like being on the road with traffic lights and.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not what you would expect for people that might have difficulties in cycling.
Exactly.
And I've noticed there's a few people that are going around the track, and you've got some people that are on like your classic typical bike, and then there's some different ones.
Yeah, well, if you go to a place like Copenhagen or Amsterdam, you will see that the diversity of pedal cycle that's considered normal there, it has a much greater range than what we have in the UK.
After talking about the centre, I want to know about the experience people have when they use the space.
Everything is absolutely positive. I mean, that's true of volunteers or project users, how it brings out people's confidence.
Right, what we're going to do is we're going to go right through the cones, in and out, yep, you're right. It's just so enjoyable doing lessons. seeing the progression from a beginner cyclist to someone who's fully cycling and getting their pedal ready. All the people cycling in the background, you've got children of different needs and different abilities, and you've got people from all different backgrounds coming together and cycling as one big community. It's nice because everyone else is doing it, so why shouldn't you do it?
So we've got a daughter Zoe, and she's got ADHD, so she really struggles, she gets really frustrated, she's got no patience, so we just couldn't teach her at all. We tried, but found this place, get lots of good reviews, and she only started last week, and within half an hour she was riding a bike. Last week we brought her kicking and screaming, she didn't know what she was coming to, but this week she was just skipping and jumping to come back. So,
loving it.
Yeah,
loving it.
All good.
So when I was younger, I used to cycle like in the street with my family. We'd go to the park. But as I've got older, we've not just done that as much. And now with having a muscle weakening disease, I'm quite scared, and for the lack of a better word, of going out and cycling. And I've recently got married, and me and my husband have wanted to go out cycling, but he doesn't know Glasgow. He's not from here, so we've been trying to decide like how are we going to do this? How are we going to go out and cycle? So this is amazing. Like I'd love to come along, and because I know it's so inclusive to everybody. Me and him could get on a bike and we could just cycle. And
visual impairment, it's one of the things we deal with a great deal.
Yeah.
Because people assume that if you have a visual impairment, cycling is out of the question, but it's not.
No, I've got great memories of being a kid and being in the park and falling off my bike, getting back on it. It had nothing to do with my vision, it was just about being a kid. But what experience have you had with people that have disabilities and maybe competitively cycling?
We're trying to get people in at the lower end of the spectrum.
The majority of people are your everyday person that's just scared to start. It's not, they're not thinking about being competitive. So it's so nice to know that there's people like yourself that are working on involving those people, because some people need to be celebrated for just trying. And I think more people should be celebrated for trying.
I'm now on my way to meet the Scottish Women Warriors, an all-women's wheelchair basketball team. I want to see them in action at their weekly training night in Jordan Hill, Glasgow.
Hello! Looking for the Scottish Women Warriors?
I'm welcomed by long-term member Karen, who shows me the ropes.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Karen.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. I'm here to watch you guys
Well,
play basketball.
you're in the right place. The girls are just having a quick chat just now. What we'll do is we'll get you in a chair.
Okay.
And then I'll introduce you to the rest of the girls.
Awesome. Let's do it. Yeah.
Right, let's do that.
5'3".
Look it up.
So it seemed like Karen was keen for me to get involved and play a game. But I had never been in a wheelchair before, so I didn't have any experience in using one.
You always make sure the chair's at the back against the wall, because these chairs don't have any brakes.
Oh, you could have told me that sooner.
But after just a short lesson, I soon began to learn my way.
So that's how we set up, and then I'll take you through some wee bits of practice.
Cool.
Show you how to use the chair, and then we'll get you going.
I feel like I've got an attitude now that I'm in this, and I'm like, I need to go.
Feeling at home already, I wanted to know just how inclusive wheelchair basketball really is.
Do you have any able-bodied players on your team?
Yes, wheelchair basketball requires able-bodied people on our
Oh, okay, cool.
It's not a requirement, but it's a huge enhancement. Wheelchair basketball isn't a disability sport, it's an inclusive sport.
So you don't have to be in a wheelchair during the day to
definitely not.
play?
And with that, it was time to give it a try and meet the other team members.
Just push gently.
It's like rollerblading,
Yeah, a wee
but
bit
on your bum.
Yeah, on your bum. That's one way to put it.
Every woman on the team was incredibly accommodating and each had very interesting stories.
This is Sarah. Sarah's our coach.
Hiya.
Sarah was
So you're whipping these guys into shape?
She's tried. Sarah is how many times a Paralympian? A double Paralympian now.
Wow.
Before I dive into a game, I have to alert the others of my abilities and limitations so that I don't get injured.
Sannah has a slight vision impairment, so I've advised her that when she wants the ball, put her hands where she thinks she can catch it from. What we do is we don't focus on disability here, it's on capabilities. So unless someone tells us that they have something, then it's fair play.
Yeah.
You can't always do that when it's something as difficult as it's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, you have to
You do have to tell everybody, yeah.
Finally, it was time for me to take the plunge and get straight into a game.
When I told them how bad my injury was, they all were all like, yes, you can get class, yes, you can play. They totally understood how I felt, totally got that you can't do what you used to do anymore.
I was really scared because from being walking to then being in a wheelchair and having to then readjust everything and learn how to do things in the wheelchair, I did find that hard. But when I came here, it was like, don't worry about it. If you can't do it, don't worry about it. And they made me feel more relaxed.
Getting a hang of it now. It's really interesting to see so many able-bodied and people with any disabilities or illnesses playing together and at one time, because for me, whenever I've played any sports, I've always been the one with the disability, or I've always been the odd one out.
When I tell people that I play wheelchair basketball, the first thing they do, they look at me and go, but you're not in a chair, and you have to explain to them. But it's really great because it does mean if you walked into this room halfway through a session, you would not know which one of us had a disability and which one didn't. So it's really a great level playing field.
Yeah.
And obviously my mum has a disability, so it's something we can do together for sport. Like,
oh yeah.
So we never thought we could ever do anything like this together.
It's extreme, yeah.
I was extremely grateful to have played wheelchair basketball with all of these lovely ladies, and to have scored a basket was the icing on the cake.
Having Sannah here today has been fantastic. It's good to show someone else a new sport, but it's also really nice for us to learn from Sannah, and that was really quite empowering to watch someone else being able to do it. Despite her visual impairments, we could adapt to that.
Wheelchair basketball is something I never thought about playing, but is an experience I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm very glad to have met the Scottish Women Warriors, and I hope this isn't the last chance I get to play wheelchair basketball. I've enjoyed seeing how passionate people are about what they care about, so I really enjoyed being at Free Will North. I loved speaking to Norman, and he was somebody that was clearly so passionate about making not only sport but the environment inclusive for people with disabilities, as opposed to building a city and then having people with disabilities as an afterthought. With the Women's Warriors, the basketball team, honestly, I didn't know what to expect originally. To go there and be surrounded by so many people that were just in wheelchairs was a surreal moment in itself, because instantly I was the minority. And I think for them, they knew that, and they feel that power when they're in their wheelchairs and somebody's not. What was interesting to find out is when I spoke to the different women that were there, was some of them aren't wheelchair bound at all or rely on wheelchairs whatsoever. With boxing, it's definitely something that I'm not going to be giving up. However, I have realised that because of my disability, as much as I want to be as capable as everybody else, there is a limitation, and that's sometimes a hard pill to swallow. So I did have my second fight scheduled, but I had to cancel the fight. I'm going to wait till I am a lot healthier, but I'm never going to say I can't do this because I've got a disability. And nobody should ever say that. You need to be realistic, but that doesn't mean you can't dream big. Looking back, it really shows there are good people doing innovative work out there. Seeing how amazing they really are will hopefully inspire you to get involved in a sport or make your sport more inclusive for others. Because at the end of the day, everyone is scared to find out they're not good at something, but no one is perfect the first time around. We should all play a part in encouraging each other to be better, because anything is possible.